Hello, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and I am joined today by a man who recently declared himself eligible for the NFL Draft. His name is Mike Roth.
Yes.
How's that 40 time?
Well, I'm a kicker.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, it's, I don't know what to
We're
tell
going to
you.
check
I
out
really
your
don't.
form at the end of the show. We're going to see what kind of form we got.
I'll kick something. You get that mug.
Coffee cup. All right, so this week we have got a couple of movies on the marquee to discuss. And the first one, I'm just going to jump right in with. The first movie that we have is the newest live-action offering from Disney, and that is Cinderella, the classic retelling of a well-known story of the princess, the orphan who goes to live with her stepmother and her stepsisters, and the fairy godmother who transforms her into a beautiful princess, she goes to the ball, the prince falls in love. You know the story. You've seen
Never heard this
right?
before. Have they ever made a movie like this before?
Yeah, they don't like to tell the story very often. It's never used in any other form or fashion.
No.
I mean, you know the Cinderella story. We see it. I mean, we just saw it this past winter in Into the Woods.
Oh, well, and then we had the Duff,
Yeah.
which is kind of a
I mean,
Cinderella
it's
story.
Cinderella story is a term in itself.
Yeah.
Here we are in March Madness. Cinderella is a term very well used in March Madness basketball, and it is the ugly duckling story, basically.
That's my favorite line, Bill Murray said.
Yeah.
Cinderella.
Cinderella story. And so we have there Lily James as Ella, Cinderella. Cate Blanchett plays her stepmother. I almost said stepmonster. Stepmother.
Pretty close.
I know. We also have Richard Madden playing the prince. Helena Bonham Carter showing up as the fairy godmother. Directed by Richard Branagh. And I thought this was kind of interesting because Richard Branagh, known for his early Shakespearean work that he was always very well known for, and then his attempt at a big budget with the first Thor movie, which I didn't especially care for his take on that, and so I was kind of dubious about how he was going to pull this off. But I thought he was actually. He did well. I think it was a good choice of his style, his eye for what he looks for in a film. Fit well with the Cinderella story. It's not a lot of. There are some really great effects, like you saw right there.
Yeah.
The transformation when the fairy godmother comes down, the transformation sequence and the transformation back, I thought was the best part of the movie.
I really didn't get much of a jump out of this. I mean, just because, like we've kidded before, we see a Cinderella incarnate pretty much every 2 months, it seems.
Yeah.
And the original Cinderella story has been redone for TV and movies at least, and cartoons at least 9 times under the same name, not as something else. This movie is basically like the original Disney. Yeah.
They're sticking to their script of what the story is.
Yeah, and it's not really diverging in any other way. It's pretty much, we already got a good story. We're going to take out some of the classic songs and just kind of...
All the songs, really. I was expecting a bit of a musical number in here.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that.
Well, they do give homage to it, where the bibbidi-boppity-boo and stuff like that. And there was a little bit of song at the end.
Yeah.
But, they just took out the song and pretty much they zeroed in on, let's make an awesome-looking set and awesome-looking costume design. I really am not huge on costume design. I'm not going to be wowed by it, but I could see why some people would be wowed. Do you know if they use CG on the dress?
I don't know.
That thing was weird looking.
They very well could have, because everything else in that scene, in those scenes were. I thought Cate Blanchett was great casting.
Yeah.
I mean, you get one of our great actresses right now to be the stepmother. She's overqualified for the job.
Yeah.
For what they're asking.
Yeah.
Overqualified, but hey, if you can get her, it's good. It's good to have.
And she had plenty of source material to figure out what her character is.
Right.
So really anybody could have probably played
Yeah,
this.
I mean, really, because like we say, it's something that we're all very familiar with. I was a little skeptical going in. Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, I think that's the only time they did a bad makeup job in the beginning, when she was the old witch.
Lady. Yeah.
There was something wrong with her face. I don't know if they just like super glued liver to her face or something like that. It was weird.
It didn't fit what else was going on.
But overall, the rest of the makeup, I love those lizard guys. Those were pretty good with the creepy small teeth.
The wizard guys, the swan, they were really fun. Now, as far as the dynamic of Cinderella and the prince, you know, that it felt like they used the set of Into the Woods as they're running out of the castle. Like, oh, I've seen the staircase before.
You already bought it. You might as well use it again.
And like I say, this is kind of the first. This is not the first. This is one of many of the new push for Disney to turn their classic animated films into live action. We're getting Pan. We're getting all
Dumbo.
Yeah, Dumbo with Tim Burton directing, which we'll see. And so this is kind of falling in line of let's take those movies that maybe the little kids haven't seen. I mean, I know some of these movies are almost 100 years old. I mean, they're 70 years old.
Yeah, but what they did with the other ones, like Maleficent, they actually kind of warped the whole story and made it something new. This is the exact same thing as their cartoon.
Pretty much beat for beat.
Except for without the musical numbers. They also over heavy on the CG. Some of it was great. The pumpkin scene, I really thought they could have done better if they just used a fake pumpkin. I thought it was.
I thought it looked pretty great, especially the transformation back. I thought was great at midnight. I thought that was really cool.
I thought that was cool. It was mainly the greenhouse scene that I thought was a little bit off. I think they could have done without that.
Now,
done a lot
you
better.
and I, as I sit in the theater watching this, I realize I am not the target audience for this.
Ooh, I felt very weird.
Like this is not for me. But if I can get something out of it, great.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great because anytime you go see a Disney movie like this, they are also great with having the shorts beforehand, like Pixar does. And now as Disney owns Pixar, they put the shorts beforehand. They had a great little Frozen short, Frozen Fever, a little 6-minute story, bringing back the original voice cast to do this, and as a kind of an appetizer for Frozen 2, which we'll be getting soon. And I know when I saw the film, when the Frozen logo came up, there was an audible gasp from 100 little girls in the theater.
Yeah, same here. I was the only male, and I was probably the only guy by myself.
Yeah,
so
super creep.
I felt a little creepy.
I mean, all in all, as we say, the Cinderella movie wasn't breaking any new ground.
Yeah.
What did you think overall? I mean, what would you give it objectively?
Overall, I think I give it a 3. I think if someone really loves the Cinderella story and they love costume design, then this is going to be obviously a better film for them. But that's not me. I'm not costume design type guy. I actually find the original Cinderella to be kind of boring.
Wow.
So I think this is a really good remaking of Cinderella. I don't think they did anything out of the box or anything special.
Right.
3.
3 stars. Yeah, you know what? And like I say, this story is so well-trodden ground.
Yeah.
Like we keep saying, they didn't break any new ground. Now, the Cinderella story, I like Never Been Kissed for a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. But as far as this movie, I think it looked good. I think Kenneth Branagh did a very commendable job with the look of the film, the feel of it. It's what you expect, really.
Yeah.
No surprise.
No.
I thought the cast was overall pretty good. I like Stellan Skarsgård as the guard who is kind of weaseling, trying to control things. I really like Stellan Skarsgård.
I guess that was a little bit. There was a little bit more depth, but really, same movie.
You know, and Kate Blanchett. I thought Lily James was fine. I don't know a whole lot about her as an actress, but you know, it was enjoyable. It was fine. If you enjoy these movies, if you have children, they'll love it. Little girl, love it.
Little girl,
no doubt.
I don't think.
Hey, I took my oldest son. He went with me. I said, we're going Father Sunday at the movies. We're gonna go see Cinderella.
Yeah,
he's a trooper. He enjoyed it.
When I brought it up to my kids, they were just like, "Oh,
I said somebody's going
to the next one.
Somebody's going with me." But I give it 3 stars as well. I think it's fine. It's above average, but nothing new. So the movie that you have this week.
Well, I did something that's a little bit out of the box. It stars Liam Neeson as this guy with a dangerous past, and he's retired from it, and he has to get pulled back in to save his family.
Oh.
What does that sound like?
Wait, is this... Wait, I think I've heard this. I think I might have seen this.
Well, it's not what you're thinking. It's Run All Night. Liam Neeson plays Jimmy Collins.
Jimmy Collins. Yep.
Where he was an ex-hitman mobster. Turns out to be kind of like a town drunk, but he gets pulled back into the game when his son gets in trouble. There he is right there, played by Joel Kinnaman.
Joel Kinsman, yeah.
Ed Harris plays Sean McGuire. He is he's a boss.
He's the mob boss.
He's the mob boss, but he's gone straight. Where his son, played by Boyd Holbrook, he wants to go back to the nasty ways. His son, has this bad deal. He ends up going after Joel Kinnaman's character. Unfortunately, Liam Neeson didn't want to do it because it's his ex-boss and best friend's son, but he had to kill him in kind of the self-defense. And
it starts the ball rolling.
That starts the ball rolling.
It's like, you killed my son, now I have to kill yours.
I feel like I've seen this movie before. I've seen Joel Kinnaman do a show called The Killing, which is a great series, great character. I think they underused him a little bit. And the movie has its built-in spoiler right in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So right in the beginning,
Very
and this
first
is not
shot.
This is not a spoiler alert because they give this to you right away. You are painfully aware throughout the whole movie that any situation they're going to be getting into, you know that the
are they in the woods yet?
Liam Neeson and Boyd will survive to get into a shootout in the woods at some point.
They're in a building? No worries.
No worries.
I know where this is going to end.
We know where this is all going to go.
Like they say, no spoiler alert. This is the very first scene of the movie.
I did like Liam Neeson's and Joel chemistry. I thought they did really well right there. But I think Joel was underused a little bit, and the story is something that Liam Neeson has been doing for his past 5-6 films.
Yeah, it pretty much since the first Taken movie.
Yeah.
With Taken and Unbroken, not Unbroken, but all these films he's done. And we've covered 2 of them in the last 6 months. And this has unlike all of those films, this has a really rich cast. I mean, Ed Harris, Liam Neeson, Joel Kinsman, and Vincent D'Onofrio as the cop who's been chasing him forever.
Yeah.
You know, and
knows he did it.
Knows
but,
him. You know, they
doesn't have the proof to really.
They grew up in the
pinpoint.
neighborhood. One went straight, one went crooked. You know, basically like.
He just pretty much chases around Liam Neeson, going, "Just tell me you did it."
And Common as another hitman coming after him throughout.
Yeah.
You know, we just saw him in Selma.
Yeah.
Oscar award-winning actor, not actor, performer, Common. And so you say, wow, look at this cast, a lot of big-time names, and it's all just such familiar ground. We know where this is going. There are no surprises in this movie.
No.
Especially if you're going to give me some twists, don't give me the foreshadowing of literally showing me what's going to happen.
Right away in the beginning.
Yeah.
Before you even get to know the names, you know the 2 main characters are going to live and be in the woods.
Yeah. I mean, there's...
So everything.
The other thing I thought was kind of strange was this movie chose to really lean heavily on the fact that this is in New York. Mm-hmm. They went out of their way to showcase every site you can in New York.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go to Madison Square Garden. We're going here. We're going there. We're going to Central Park. We're going to this. Okay, I get it. You're in New York. Yeah. You know, I don't know. They almost tried to make New York a character in this movie.
I think they failed at that.
I do too, but they really tried because it was just a lot of that pushed at you. I did enjoy the father-son dynamic, and I did enjoy the quiet moments between Liam Neeson and Ed Harris. I like that dynamic between them, where it's like, I know that you have to kill me, right? You know how this is going to end, and I like that. The little quiet moments that they had together were great. It wasn't enough, though, to pull me through just this familiar trope that I've been through so many times.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is going to be a very forgettable film. I think a
it falls
couple of months from now,
a blur.
I think after Gunman Plays, which is, again, another very similar story, people are going to kind of forget about Run All Night, and its sales are...
Yeah, I mean, it did not do well at all. It is the worst of the But at the box office, it was the worst movie that Liam Neeson has done in the last 5 years.
I thought it made its money back.
But it is the worst movie that he has done.
Oh, true.
In the last 5 years, I believe I read.
Well, if you loved Taken 3, you will think this is a good movie.
Here's my issue, and I'll say it again. I've said it before on here with as far as what he's doing. It should not come to the point where it is a well-known joke that you are making the same movie over and over.
No.
I mean, for inside movie guy like who watched a lot of movies, be like, oh yeah, he makes a lot of these. But when people who don't watch movies know, like, wait, I've heard of that. Wait, hasn't he already done this one? Is this a Taken movie? It's a joke that you're making the same movie over. And he almost seems to laugh about it. I see him on talk shows like, oh yeah, a couple more years of these and then I'll be retired, blah, blah. Like, just stop, dude. Branch out.
In the past 6 months, he has 3 movies that are pretty much the same thing. He's wearing the same wardrobe. He's the same character.
He talks on the phone. He threatens somebody. He kicks some butt. And I'm so tired of it. And I don't know, maybe this movie, my score might reflect my weariness of seeing this over and over again, because maybe this was better than the others, but I don't know. I mean, I ended up giving it 2 stars, because throughout I'm just going, yeah, I know where this is going to go next. I've seen where this is going to go next, and so disappointing.
Yeah, I would suggest if you wanted to see a Liam Neeson movie of this character, go see Walking the Tombstones. I thought it was a better...
The First Taken. The First Taken is a really good movie. There's a reason it launched his career in this direction.
Yeah.
It just became repetitive after that.
I thought it was because of Darkman.
Maybe it could be. I don't know. What did you give?
I gave it a 2.5. I think it was a movie that will pass your time. I don't think you'll remember it too much after that. Yeah. If you watched everything at Redbox later on in your life, you might want to pick it up. But or just rewatch Taken.
It's aight. That's not a glowing review. Our throwback for this week, though, is a movie very similar in tone and feel and structure to this movie. And this is 2002's movie, Road to Perdition, directed by Sam Mendes, starring Tom Hanks, Paul Newman, Daniel Craig, Jude Law, Jennifer Jason Leigh. And it is a movie...
Huge cast.
Yeah, really. And it is a movie where Tom Hanks plays a hitman. This is early 1930s, 1931, Depression era. Tom Hanks is a hitman working for Paul Newman. Paul Newman is the old mob boss. And Tom Hanks is the man who does the dirty work for him. Daniel Craig is Paul Newman's son, who is a screw-up in life, and he knows that his dad probably loves Tom Hanks more. And Tom Hanks and Daniel Craig's characters go out to perform a hit on a guy. Unfortunately, Tom Hanks' oldest son sneaks into the car and sees this happen, finds out that his dad isn't the salesman he thought he was.
No.
And it becomes, I have to kill everyone who's a witness. Paul Newman, Daniel Craig goes out and kills Tom Hanks' family, other than he and his son, his oldest son. And now those two are on the run. Daniel Craig, Paul Newman, and eventually Jude Law show up, chasing him down, trying to take him out, all witnesses. And it's what makes this movie, I think, great is, again, the dynamic between Tom Hanks and Paul Newman. In Paul Newman's last starring role, the dynamic between them as the pseudo father and son, the adopted father and son almost. Like, you've always been there. We share a bond, and unfortunately now I have to take you out.
One thing I really loved about this movie is the setting. It really made you feel like you are on the outskirts of budding Chicago. Yeah. And you go through into Chicago and you see all these people dressed to the nines of that era, and you can't really look at it and say, this wasn't taken, back in that time.
Yeah,
it
looks
did really
and I mean,
good job.
This won a couple of Oscars for, I believe, for the look of it. Several nominations for the actors. The thing I really liked about when it first came out was that this was the first kind of role that Tom Hanks was cast against type. He wasn't Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. Yeah. He wasn't, Forrest Gump or the guy you root for in this. He's got some dirt under his fingernails. He's got something to him. He's not Mr. Shiny and New.
That's one thing I really like about Tom Hanks is he doesn't want to be typecast.
Yeah.
You see him.
I don't want to be the guy from Big in every movie.
Yeah, he went from a comedy phase when he first started, and he was well known as the comedy guy.
Yeah, great.
And he worked very hard to kind of disassociate himself as a comedian. You know, he's a funny guy, but overall, he's a great actor. And he has always chose roles that are a little bit different than the last one.
Yeah, he's willing to go out on a limb, and this was, I think, a big leap for him in his career to go out and be not necessarily the good guy. I mean, even his dynamic with his own son was very strained throughout the beginning of the movie. You know,
Yeah.
And you watched that kind of build as this dynamic as his son starts to realize who his dad is, and he's got to fight to keep his son better than he is. Don't go down the path I'm going down. And it's just, the scenes, Jude Law is super creepy in this movie. The scenes with him still give me kind of the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, he's odd.
Really creepy. And I mean, it's Paul Newman. I mean, Paul Newman is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I love his salad dressing.
I actually love everything Paul Newman. I'll eat it all. It's all good.
The lemonade, everything.
So Road to Perdition, I think, is an often overlooked movie, especially in the Tom Hanks pantheon. I think it's often overlooked because it was kind of a transition in his career into the serious.
I did find Tom Hanks' character in this to be kind of a weaker character than a lot of his other movies that I've enjoyed, but I do recognize that this is a kind of a leaping point for him.
Yeah, it's a departure for him.
And it was a nice change for him. Out of all the actors, I kind of thought he was one of the weaker roles compared to the other characters and actors that were playing.
See, I thought he was great, especially when dealing with his son. There's a moment where they are being chased. They get into a little firefight, and he pulls off into a field and gets out and has a very stern chat with his young son, who is kind of rebelling against his dad because you've lied to me my entire life.
Yeah.
I don't need to listen to you. And he has a talk with his son that gives me the chills every time I see that scene. I don't know how many guys can pull that off. It's very well done, I think.
My favorite scene is actually just kind of a little sight gag when he teaches his son how to drive.
It's a
and they're
great
running
little
away.
sequence, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and he's just breaking away from the bank, and he's waiting for the getaway
Stanley
car.
Tucci's in this movie. Stanley Tucci is excellent in this movie as well. I mean, what a cast. What a cast. So if you haven't seen Road to Perdition, if you let it slip through the cracks, we won't blame you, but go check it out. Go watch it. I thoroughly enjoy it. And as a movie that we saw this week, this is a much better version of that, correct?
Oh, yeah, much better. You know, it is a great movie, and I think if anybody who hasn't seen it, they definitely need to see this movie. Just to get the feel of the era was phenomenal.
Great.
But yeah, definitely. If you're at Redbox and they have this movie,
That'd be great if they did.
yeah, check this one out before you get the Liam Neeson one.
Very good. Very good. All right. It is time to look forward at what is coming out in the coming week. We're going to go to the week of March 27th. The month is flying by. And that week we have 2 movies coming out on the big screen for you. The first one is, let's see, Get Hard, a comedy that we're getting.
I'm looking forward to this.
Get Hard, starring Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart kind of playing a bit of the same role. We just saw him in The Wedding Ringer, where he plays a guy who is hired to do a job. Will Ferrell is going to prison for a white-collar crime, and he is very scared to go to prison. And he knows one African-American gentleman, and he assumes that he has been to prison and knows everything there is to know, so he pays Kevin Hart to teach him how to survive in prison. Kevin Hart has no idea, but he's going to fake it to get some money. And the trailer looks funny.
Yeah, well, Kevin Hart, he's really on the upward climb. And Will Ferrell, his career is, even though he's very popular, it's dipping a little bit.
I think it's a good combination between the two of them. I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful, too. I think Kevin Hart's last movie was really funny.
Surprisingly.
And, you know, I know that Will Ferrell, even though I haven't liked his last few movies, he has done great stuff in the past.
He's got it in him.
He's got it in him, and I'm hoping it brings...
My only worry is that he's just going to play the same guy he does in the majority of his movies.
He probably will, but I'm hoping Kevin Hart will bring
guy,
something else.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. The other movie we have coming out is the animated feature Home, starring the voice casting of Jim Parsons.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
About an alien named O,
Yeah.
who comes down to this future world and hooks up with a little girl, and she takes him in, kind of Lilo and Stitch style almost.
Kinda.
And I don't know.
It kind of looks like the whole thing revolves around how cute this alien is.
Yeah, and I don't know how long that's going to carry.
No, but here's hoping. I always hope that every movie I see is going to be
That's
great.
the thing, man. I never root against the movies. You know, you go in kind of going, well, I don't know if this one's going to be good, but always hoping for a good one, right? Why do I want to waste 2 hours of my time watching a terrible movie?
Maybe it's just the advertisers, they slapped the bad trailer together, and they really haven't changed that trailer.
No, that
at
trailer's
all.
that's kind of the downfall. Because I remember the first couple times I saw that trailer, I thought it was actually kind of cute, kind of funny.
There's some cute sight gags in it.
And as we've said before, kind of one of the downfalls of seeing every movie that comes into theater is you see the same trailer multiple times.
Yeah, the same trailer.
This week I got to see the Mad Max Fury Road trailer on the big screen. Finally, I've seen it on my phone.
Yeah.
Looks great on my phone, but on the big screen, I'm blown away.
That-
I'm in my
that
seat
looks pretty cool.
yeah, can't wait. 3D.
I could watch that trailer over and over.
Oh
and
yeah,
over
I watched
again.
an hour and a half of that.
I was not interested in Holmes' trailer from the boot, and they have little spin-offs, you know, for introduce you to the movies
Right.
and stuff like
The
that.
movies.
Yeah, which sounds off.
It does, but those are the movies that are coming out March 27th. Next episode, we will have a couple of movies to discuss. The first one is the second movie in the Divergent franchise, Insurgent. I think that's going to be kind of big. I think there's going to be some people going to see it.
I think, yeah.
That's just me.
I think the slow weeks are over.
Yeah, we are finally getting into the bigger movies.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting out of the doldrums, working our way through March, and then it's ready, set, go, and we hit the Fast and the Furious and such, and then here we go. But we also will have Gunman, the new movie starring Sean Penn and Javier Bardem and a bunch of folks.
Pretty much what that movie is about.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that next week. But before we go, we, of course, would love to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, for showing us these films. If you have a Marcus Theaters in your area, we highly encourage you to go check them out. Sit in one of their dream lounger seats and enjoy it. Also, we encourage you to go find us on Twitter. We're always there at Real Reviews TV, on Facebook at Real Reviews TV as well. We've picked up a lot of new likes and listeners and followers. Listeners, you
Very
can listen,
nice.
you can watch, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, we are a little universe.
Right. And that's always fun. I'm always ready to chat movies with anyone who wants to chit-chat with us through either of those platforms. Where else can people find us?
And if for some reason you just can't get the case on to work, or you just want to see our faces and the iTunes thing isn't working, check us out on YouTube. I also release that on our Facebook page, but it's up and ready for you.
Yeah, as long as Fox doesn't pull us down.
Yeah,
the
Fox,
man coming after us.
The man came after us last time, boot us down for a little bit.
Right, and as we always say, if you want to watch any previous episodes, if maybe you got a movie in Redbox and you want to, we seem to be sponsored by Redbox today, and maybe you want to know what we thought of it, it's all available at ksun.tv. Find all our previous episodes from the past nearly year. So, but until next week,
all right,
when we talk about Insurgent and Gunman, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.